Welcome to the Elements of Spirit readings for the week of August 7th, 2017. This is the... it's bright in here today. I hope it's bright wherever you are. This is the reading for the element of ether. These are free weekly readings through the elements of ether, earth, air, water, and fire from ediblespirits.com and from me, your host, Michael Domitrovich. Bringing you these readings in order to work with to offer guidance, insight for you to work with your balance of elements throughout the week. Elements of earth, air, water, fire. Ether is the space in which all of those other elements are vibrating, so that'll give us kind of the general read for the week. And you can go and find your sun sign in the description below this ether reading. And you follow your astrological sun sign and its associated element, and watch the ether reading, and then watch the element that's associated with your sun sign. Use the affirmations from both, use the readings from both, use whatever you want from both, watch the rest of them. If you are into astrology and want to watch the one that has to do with your sun sign, your rising sign, or if you know you have a ton of planets in one element in your chart, then watch that one. You can really chop these readings up and mix and match them and use them as needed. The idea is to give you these practical ways of working with invisible forces. And that's the elements of spirit. Okay, so let's see what the ether has to say this week. Okay. I've been having an intense morning, but not like this. So it just always is exciting to me when the thing that comes out has nothing to do with anything I was thinking, which is usually okay. So there's this big thing in the ether, which says fatty, fatty, fat, fat, and there's a sense of walking around carrying more than you can bear. And again, like this is for the ether, this is for the space that everyone's in. And the element of ether is drawing our attention to excess loads, excess baggage. And we've been talking a lot about the solar plexus. I guess I'm always talking about the solar plexus, but the last few weeks, there's been a lot of solar plexus action, and this big belly is piggybacking on that. Okay, so excess loads, excess baggage. There is like a bit of a fat cat syndrome, and this idea of look at all you've got. And they're like, recognize that what is of true value is very small and there's almost no weight. Okay, so there's this, they give me this really big, strong image of just all of us kind of like walking around and like sweating and feeling gross and like just carrying this big load around on our bellies and our tummies and our lower bellies. And then what they point out is they're like, look at all that you've got, not in like, look at how fat cat you are and how much you've got, you fatty, fatty, fat, fat. They're actually saying recognize what is of true value, recognize that what is of true value is very small and bears almost no weight. So really, the idea is that all of this that we're carrying around, I'm trying to back away from it because I don't like being obnoxious like this, but there is something about this like force of consumption. It's also the season we're in. We're in like the peak of summer. I think this is like first harvest. Pagan crew, shout out, love you, especially all of my people at the Dragon of the Rose. If any of you are watching, comment about this, because I'm not going to do the research right now. But there's this, it feels like a very agrarian moment where we want to be we're in our DNA and in our bodies, we want to be considering these cycles and these forces, and the reaping and sowing and the harvesting and consuming and the harvesting and saving, and this kind of like agrarian cycle as it manifests in our world and in our bodies, which are kind of the same. There's something kind of backed up about that. And it makes me think of like the big, garbage island in the middle of the ocean, and it makes me think of all of the chemicals in our food. Oh, another shout out to Planet Waves and Eric Francis Copolino and the team that have released the gemstone vials. Very exciting, very disturbing, tons of documents about systemic cover-ups and denials and all of these problems with the pesticides in the foods and the grains, the pesticides in our food supply and on our grains and a bunch of other stuff. So I haven't read them yet because I've been busy, but gemstone files, check them out, they're amazing. So the idea is in this exchange between us and the earth in terms of what we need to feed us and what we need to do to sustain the world so that we can feed ourselves, the idea is that we're getting a little backed up. The consumption train is filling up, and the replenishment train is lacking in some obvious and interesting sorts of ways. And what my gut is telling me, and what the ether is saying today, is that we're in a sort of season where this churning of nourishment through the body and through the world is being sort of lit up. And we're still also in Leo season, and we are approaching Leo eclipse on a solar eclipse on the 21st. Leo full moon, I think it's tonight, the 7th. Yeah, 7th and 8th. I think that's what it is. I didn't do my research before I just started recording these today. And that full moon is in Aquarius. So, oh, perfect. So Aquarius talking about society and service to society. So I'm trying to just paint this picture for you of the connection between your body, the nourishment cycles of your body, the nourishment cycles of the earth, and this energy of how much do I need versus how much am I giving back, and this kind of, and what this image, the fatty, fatty, fat, fat image, is just telling us that we're carrying excess loads and excess baggage around with us, because the only thing that's really valuable, recognize that what is of true value is very small and bears almost no weight. So theoretically, this stuff that's backing up, this stuff that's filling us up, these emotions or frustrations or fire or water that are backing up in our body and causing inflammation or causing stagnation, or just the metaphorical side of that, whatever is backing up, the idea is that probably it's because whatever is backing up you don't need. Recognize that what is of true value is very small and bears almost no weight. Okay, great. So I now, in hindsight, now that this has come through. Oh, sorry, didn't see you over there. I just ducked down. This is the affirmation, I only hold on to that which makes me lighter. I joyfully release all that weighs me down. So I like to throw those adverbs in there every once in a while, because that's how I hear it. But in this case, I only hold on to that which makes me lighter. If it makes me heavier, I let it go. I joyfully release all that weighs me down. This feels like an affirmation that you want with you, around you this week, because we're going to be then having this sort of push-pull between, again, Aquarius new moon is this sort of full expression of the heart, which started opening in the new moon Leo season and that first eclipse, right? Opening of the heart expresses itself, and the idea is that now this full moon comes along to say this is great, but how is it going to replenish the world? How is it going to replenish society? And to me, we could get into the very, headiness of that, which is what I do with a lot of my private clients and private work. But instead, we talk about it doesn't really matter what you do with it. The read from the ether is saying if you don't do anything with it, you're just going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. So full moon is also a great time for ritual that releases stuff. And the idea here is that we want to be pretty blunt about it, because if it's not lightening you up, then it is weighing you down. And that's not okay right now, because that weight is causing us to just get heavier and heavier and heavier and more and more and more clogged instead of lighter and lighter and lighter. I only hold on to that which makes me lighter. I joyfully release all that weighs me down. It's like, do you want to be holding a giant bunch of helium balloons or a bunch of rocks? And the idea here is that being here is, we're not grounded. It's not grounding, because if it was grounded, we would be in a state of balance. We would be present, and we would have a little more agency over this exchange of what am I taking in versus what am I giving out? What am I consuming versus what am I replenishing? And with a little more attention to that cycle, presence through groundedness, maybe it wouldn't become so drastically imbalanced. So that's all the ether's asking of you this week, is to keep an eye on that which makes you heavier and that which makes you lighter. Considering, yes, all of the goodness that you are and all of the truth that you are, but also what you need to give, what you're ready to give, and knowing that who you are and how you are is what you need, and giving who you are and how you are is what we need, what the world needs. And so this question between what weighs me down and what lifts me up, the idea is it's not just what lifts me up so that I feel cute and great. It's what lifts me up so that I'm not weighed down, so that I can give more of myself. Which to me makes me feel like I have the permission to let go of what weighs me down. Because maybe I'm not incentive enough at times when I'm hard on myself. Maybe I'm not incentive enough to remain light, but maybe everyone else is. And these days, doing stuff for society, to me, is not an excuse. You just have to do it in a balanced way. Okay, I'm going to move on. See you next week, and check out the Earth, Air, Water, and Fire readings. And I love you. Affirmation: I only hold on to that which makes me lighter. I joyfully release all that weighs me down. Bye.